See you later, yeah? Starting my video here. Yes. Good. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see everyone in such numbers, even though it's Mother's Day. So some mothers are here, so they have a problem coming in. You obviously come here for a reason. How many of you have fears or anxieties that you want to get rid of today? So, high your heads, I can't see you from behind.
Yeah, we have to find something.
Okay, that's pretty, like 3/4 of people. Some people have already done the TFT with me, so they've eradicated most of the stuff that they had a problem with. Do you know of TFT? Never heard of the tapping techniques? You've heard, but not necessarily like thought field therapy. Okay, so this was a technique invented in the 80s by a guy called Roger Callahan, a psychologist in the US. He passed away. His wife is carrying on with the whole TFT thing. It's well known worldwide on like missions in Rwanda, Haiti, where people go to help those ones affected with post-traumatic stress after earthquake in Haiti or the wars, etc., etc. How did I got to know about it? I found out through, as you do, sometimes it's an accidental thing. Someone came into my life back in 2007. And this guy changed my life. Now, he changed my life because he recognized something that was in me that I didn't know, and the people that were around me were pushing me down. And he asked me to be his coach and mentor. And I didn't know what I was supposed to be for this consultant and super security consultant that worked for governments and stuff. I read stuff that he wrote about TFT because I did research on him because I got quite scared thinking someone know me and wants to wind me up a bit. And it was the truth. He was the true guy who wrote articles about it. He actually had a first aid kit with a patent that contained the instructions on how to do TFT. Because people that went out to these war zones sometimes suffered with severe post-traumatic stress, executions and all sorts of different things. And the instructions there would help them recover from whatever happened to them and they could function again. But he never told me about it because we only met twice and I was in the wrong headspace to do anything else with it. But the following year, when I decided that it's time to get divorced, I bought a book by Paul McKenna, I Can Make You Rich. And in that book, he goes to say, if you have anxiety of any sort, do this. And I did it. And it helped me. And I thought, let me see if it works with my pupils. I took it in the car with me. And it helped pupils as well. And I thought, I need to become a therapist. So in 2009, the beginning of, I did a 2-day course. I became a therapist, and ever since then, I've been doing it. We're literally 99% of people that come to me for lessons, literally, because everyone's got something. Whether it's exam fear, some pressure from school, from work, from husbands, from wives, or whatever, there's always something. And if they want to help themselves, then that's what I do, I help them. Now, this thing is so easy to do. If you learn how to do it, you can share it with everyone around you to help them as well. Now, what happens with the whole process of is very simple and very straightforward. I've given you instructions on what you need to look out for, and when we do it, I'll guide you through, step by step. But first, before we begin, I want you to follow my instructions on how and what we're going to do about it, right? Now, I don't want to go into anything else relating to psychology. We can do that after, once you feel how good the TFT was. Okay? The whole point of us doing it here and now is that the government and the powers that be have been brainwashing us with fear for at least, or severely for the last 2 years. And people are believing what the TV and the media tells them. And they're actually ruling us with fear. And if we get rid of that, we are a very, very formidable force to stand up and say no to what's going on. And that's my idea behind it. We need to be able to deal with it in a rational manner, not emotional manner. We're going to remove the emotion from what's going on and think in a rational way. Yeah? So, well, hopefully that we're going to have a lot of freedom fighters that are going to be unafraid of anything they do to us. So, okay, so how the process starts. As it says on your sheet, the large sheet, what I want you to do is to focus on whatever is bothering you, the worst thing that you can think of, so you can get yourself into a state of the highest level of anxiety. Whatever that might be, you don't have to tell anyone about it, it's just in your head. Focus on it, and then give yourself a score of 1 to 10. 1 is nothing, and 10 the max. And don't worry if you start crying, because there's tissues over there. So focus your mind, think, close your eyes, whatever you need to do. Everyone is ready. Write down the number that you gave yourself of that anxiety, fear, or whatever it is that you were focusing your mind on. Are we all done? Okay, so keeping the thoughts that you had in mind, you're going to follow the steps that I'm doing. And you can put the paperwork away, because this is where we're going to be active. The points that we're going to use, I'm going to show you the points first. So, side of the hand, we're going to use both sides of the hand. So it's a karate chop point. So if you, I'm right-handed, so I'm using my left hand and I'm starting to tap here. The next index finger, it's close to the nail. It's on your instructions of the paperwork that you've got there. So the next is the little finger. It's again close to the nail. And then there are points under your nose, under your lip. John Travolta had a nice hole here. Next is the following opposite hand, close to the nail. Then there is a little finger, and then the side of the hand. Okay? The next step is tapping close to the eyebrow at the beginning of. You can use 2 fingers. Next one is under the eye. Doesn't matter which side, you can do both. Then there's an armpit. And the last point is a collarbone point. So when you've got your V, go down about 1 inch and 1 inch sideways. It doesn't matter whether it's left or right, you can do both at the same time. Yeah?
It's reflex points for the weave, isn't it?
It's acupuncture points.
Acupuncture, yeah.
The only thing is, you don't put any needles, you think about what the problem is.
You don't need needles.
No, you just think about the problem. Okay, so, now I want you all to focus back onto that issue that you had. And then we start tapping. So go with me. all in sync. And then index finger. Keep thinking of the problem you had. And then little finger. Under the nose. Don't forget to think of the problem you had. Under the lip. Under the nose again. And then the other side. So opposite to what you did, index finger. If we started one, it's the opposite side, and close to the nail. On the side of the head, on the side of the nail rather than the top of the little finger. And then side of the hand. Same hand that we just been tapping. Okay. Now, we've thought about the problem before. Think again of the same problem. Is it the same level as it was that you wrote down? If it's different, write down the new level on the piece of paper. Okay. Again, focus on the problem. If there is whatever is left, if sometimes this is just the first step, it's the clearing step. But this is going to be the proper algorithm that we're going to do. So think of the problem again, and then we'll start tapping beginning of the eyebrows. And again, focus your mind on the issue. And then under the eye, both if you want. Directly under the eye. That's it. And continuously think of the problem that you were thinking of. Now the armpit. It's quite a large area, so hard, but when it bruises. Now the collarbone. Collarbone point is quite painful if you push it. So when you find the right spot, you push and rub, and it's painful, and that's where we tap.
Is it actually on the bone or just?
No, it's underneath. So inch down and inch sideways. So it's a soft spot, lower than what you're doing at the moment. And tap, and think of the problem. it's exactly where on the paper it's printed out. You've got the point there. Okay, let's stop. Does anyone have, are your levels different to what they were? Who didn't have any movement on the level of, there was no, you still at the same level that you were to start off with? Anybody else?
Just a very slight difference. I can't
Okay.
say how much. I'm still
What was the level at the beginning?
10.
And what is it now?
I would say 8.
Okay, we'll see to that in a minute later on.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's not finished. Okay?
Yeah.
So we could return back to the starting position of doing this and then the same thing again, but we're not going to. We just demonstrate the whole thing, and then everyone can do it, whatever is necessary themselves later on, or with me on a one-to-one basis or in a smaller group, right? So once we've completed this step now, we're going to tap between the knuckles. That's it. So you're tapping between the knuckles continually whilst I give you further instructions. So the next thing, I want you to all close your eyes and then open. Look sharply, just the eyeballs, not movement of the head. Look sharply down to the right. You're tapping on the wrong side. You need to be between these knuckles here.
This here.
That's it. That's one of the reasons, possibly because you're not tapping the correct points. Yeah. That's okay. So we've done. Now we need to look sharply down to one side without moving the head. So eyes alone. Look sharply down to the right. Look sharply down to the left. Now follow my finger. Everyone is looking at my finger and following it. And again the other side. Okay? Continually tapping. This makes people laugh. We're going to hum together. The easiest one is happy birthday because everyone knows it. So we're going to hum happy birthday together. Lost my voice. Okay, now count out loud 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to hum happy birthday again. Okay. Now, how are you all feeling? It's not finished yet. How are you feeling now? Is there...
Big energy release. I'm getting all hot and bothered. Don't take much to set me up.
Without wine. Okay, so are levels different to what they were at the very start? Has anyone not had a change?
More relaxed. Yeah.
Okay, question is, have you changed the thoughts about how your level of disquiet is now versus what it was at the beginning?
That'll take time.
Well, let's look into that one, okay? Because it doesn't. Once it's done right, you might have to. There's a lot of baggage people have. There's layers of onions that we unpeel until we get to the core, right? That's one. Maybe if someone is very young, it's gonna go like that. But when we get older and older, we accumulate a lot more things inside there, and they need to be uncovered and dealt with, right? So we haven't finished yet. So the last step is the second step. So we're going to tap eyebrows again. Under the eye.
Do both eyes.
Armpit. can see who's got the wrong points, so I'm going to come to you later and we're going to do it individually. Because if it's the wrong point, you're missing the meridian. Yeah, so. Okay. That's it. That's all there is to it. I mean, we've done 4 steps, right? We spent, if it wasn't me talking in between and telling you how to do it, how long did it take? 10 minutes? Has it changed, apart from the people that haven't been tapping on the correct points? How do you feel? Do you feel different? So, have you got any other issues that you would want to resolve? Repeat the process. As simple as that. Aspirin, emotional aspirin for humanity. Why do we not know about it? Why the doctors are not telling you about it? This is the psychology part now that we're going to go into. What's happening to us as people today with everything that's going on? Why are doctors telling us lots of porky tales?
They could pay a lot of money.
Why would they not want to use this, what I've showed you, for free? It costs me money to print all this stuff, to give it to you, to share, to train, to tell other people how to do it.
They're trying down to use pharmaceutical products.
Right, because
They want to program it.
because it's money, right?
Yeah.
As a robot.
So do they actually hypocritical oaths to help people?
Yeah.
Are they subscribing to those?
No.
No. Psychologists, why are they not using it? There are some that do,
Yeah.
but why majority wouldn't use it?
Well, they've been brainwashed to think it's quite medicine, so
Yes.
John?
It's frozen. It's frozen.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. It's frozen.
Don't know what's signal is bad. There's nothing I can do about it. Radix, I'm going to use peace stream. So, majority of the time, I have found that doctors are not there to help us at all. I mean, there are some ethical people out there that have compassion and they're there in the right job for the right reasons, but the other time they just push drugs on us. And
Because they're trained by the pharmaceutical company.
And I think what I've discovered over the last few years, the last 14 years I've been doing this, is that I can teach someone to drive faster because I've raised the emotional blockages that they have. So I'm helping them achieve their full potential as a person. At the same time, I might reduce my level of income stream, but it's quite the opposite. Because when someone does something so positive to the person, well-being, people coming through windows and doors. This is what they don't understand, is that when you have helped someone very effectively, they tell 10 other people, and they will come to me to fix them quicker. I'm not saying that there's no people that take 150, 60, 70 hours, 180 hours to learn to drive, but that's an individual thing. What would happen if that person wasn't able to use this technique to help them with emotions? I had a girl once that was afraid of a biology exam. She couldn't go to the library to study it. I mean, very often, and this is the thing about African parents, for example, they are so hard on their children. The children can't cope. They want to be perfectionists. And the stuff that has gone on into their heads, they can't function. And they really are effective. TFT is so effective with so many people that have, I mean, I've had every country, the Nigerians, Ivory Coast, Ghana, every single person, they have somehow pushed the perfectionism on their children. Not everyone obviously is like that, but when they do, these kids don't function, they don't live, because they want to be perfect, and perfect is not possible. And sometimes people want to be perfect without trying. They don't want to do anything to achieve the perfection. They want to be perfect from the word go. That's a really hard job then. So the whole relationships, for example, parents put their ideas onto their own children. They want to live their own life through the children's lives. So they screw the children up. Because the children are individual beings. They're not like mum and dad, might have similarities, but they're not the same. And they have to be allowed to live their lives to their own ideals and what they want to do, not be pushed to achieve what the parents want them to do. And this is another problem where people get screwed up. And then they find out 20 years later, when they're in their 30s, that the mother did X, Y, and Z, and now I'm not functioning because I wanted to do this job, but mother made me do this job, and I'm not happy. But you have to, then someone has to wake someone up in order to see that, and maybe that person then is going to achieve all sorts of different things. For example, my own example, I ran away from Poland at the age of 18. I made my own money to run away from 1986, from communism. And then I met my Sicilian husband, who was abusive. But I didn't understand abuse, because I think my parents kind of were abusive as well. So this was like a norm. You don't know what's a real love. What does love mean to us? Does it mean control? It seems that what the situations that I was in, they were controlling me. They were trying to control me. I was someone calls it a wild cult. I did lots of different things. You couldn't, put reins on me. I was everywhere. Lucky for me, my parents were always at work, and we had money, so I could do these things. But then I met my husband. No more concerts, no more picture taking. I have to be the little wife that listens once. If I don't listen, I get a smack. Well, I stood up to that. But this is the thing. So once you stand up to the physical abuse, for example, psychological abuse happens, because these people don't want to give up on their control, so they'll start manipulating you. And you don't know, unless we know what manipulation is and how it works, we're not going to function, because our subconscious is going to be brainwashed. We're going to be understanding what this person is telling us. Even the smallest little nitpicking things are going to affect us. And this is the thing about knowing about emotional intelligence. How many people understand what emotional intelligence is? Have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? Have you ever had emotional intelligence being taught at school?
No, they didn't do that.
Well,
They're like a dummy down.
this is it. When Guy woke me up in 2007, I recognized that money, because I was very materialistic. We did a property refurbishment. We sold this property, and I had this check for 70 grand, and I thought, I don't want this money. I don't want to buy anything with it. I want this guy. I want to share life, crazy things, that diving, whatever, sailing, anything and everything, skiing, because this money is not making me happy. The person that I'm with is not going to make me ever happy, because he can't do what I do. So I'm being kept in a cage. I felt I was in a cage. I could see the birds flying, but I'm locked in and I can't fly. So I decided that I can't continue living like that. I need to move on. And then I did, and then I started to do the things that I wanted to do. But I always, same as many of you, I had anxiety. And the anxiety happened, I would go, in my 20s, I would go to a advertising space in magazines, in Cornwall publication. And I knew that people that wouldn't get any outcome out of the thousands of pounds, businesses in Poland I was selling it to. So I only lasted there for 6 months, but because I was on commission based only, I would go to the office, and first thing I did was pebble dash the toilet. Because my anxiety was so high, because if I didn't sell, I wouldn't earn money. And the husband was at home and really couldn't be bothered that much. So if I had TFT then, amazing, I would have loved it, but none of that existed. I didn't know about it, even though it existed, but it was developed, it was early 90s, so it was still in its very early stages. So there is so many different elements that are going to create the anxiety within us. So I don't even want to think what it is for children that have been physically or sexually abused, because it's another, I've got one person at the moment who's been like that, but she's gone through months of therapy, and she's not open to using TFT. I had to tell her to go and do it herself. But this is the thing. At some point, I had the thought that I was under emotional anesthesia back in 2007. And I Googled, when you used to use Google for, well, you can still use that for that. So emotional anesthesia is a form of your self-preservation. You don't have happy feelings, you don't have very sad feelings. People can, like, really insult you and you couldn't give a monkeys about it. But that's an emotional anesthesia. And I bought a book because when it came out, and I would recommend everyone looks into this. This is Emotional Intelligence. Claude Steiner. You can have a look. I mean, I've read this book and I highlighted lots of things in it because it's a really an important aspect of understanding what creates our emotions. And I have, I'm starting a website called From Fear to loveandfreedom.com, because we as people, we need to get rid of our fears, our anxiety, and go for the love, the true love, not the controlling part, not insisting that the person that we're with are going to become the person that we want them to become. The true love is where someone helps the other person growing as a human being in achieving whatever they want to achieve. So, another thing about our education, I'm going to have to put my camera back on because I think it's just turned off because it's got a limit. Because I might use some of this stuff on the I think it's my live stream is completely gone, isn't it?
No.
The other thing about psychology is that I don't know, does everyone here believe in God or universe or guidance? Hands up who doesn't believe. Go on. Okay. Well, from the very beginning, I have been saying strange things. When I was 15, I said that I'm going to leave Poland and live in England, and I'm going to have a son. I was 15, it was 1985. Poland was 2 years after this terrible martial law. It was middle of communism. I think my friends must have thought that I was completely... 3 years later, on the 16th of June, 86, I left. Then I said that something, in my 20s, I was saying something's going to happen that was going to make me rich beyond my wildest dreams. Towards the end of my 30s, we were doing this refurbishment project. And this refurbishment project was successful. As I told you, I had a check for 70 grand. It was this was, we made 60 grand and we divided between my brother-in-law and ourselves. And with our deposit. So I could grow the business of refurbishment or whatever I wanted to do, and I'll be financially very successful, rich beyond my wildest dreams. But I recognize and realize that the money is not making me happy. I don't want it. I want something else. I want true love. And that's where the rich beyond my wildest dream is. And I've been going for it. Now, when I'm saying stuff to you now, I've also gone into researching soulmates, past life regression, and lots of other things, because I started to think, there's no way all of this thing is happening. I've been saying, and it actually came true. What's going on, right? So I did a past life regression. Michael Newton has got an institute. He has therapists all over the world doing hypnosis. It's a 4-hour hypnosis that I went under. And I chose, there's lots of doors that I had to go through. I chose a middle door. Some medieval times I was running away through a corridor. I jumped out of the window and I died on the rocks underneath. And then I flew to another dimension and no one was coming to see me. So the therapist asked, so you ask thinking, why is no one coming to see me? Please come and see me. The guide, guardian angel, however we want to describe it, appears, and he says, it was a he, he says, no one is coming to see you because you're not supposed to be here asking questions yet. When is everything going to happen? Everything will happen when the time is right. Just follow your intuition. And what I discovered from then is if I didn't follow my intuition, things don't go right. So ever since then, I follow my intuition. That's why we're here today. Because the thoughts came to my head thinking, I need to do something physical with people that are fighting for freedom, understand what's going on, but still are not happy within themselves. And if we share this tool of TFT, we can help a lot more people. That's why I'm sure everyone's got these gut feelings. A lot of people live in their heads, not in their hearts. So that's another thing to change. Start thinking with your heart, not just with your head. Logic sometimes just does not apply to certain things. So, and re-educate yourself about psychology, because psychology, what they give us in school books, it's not exactly what there is out there. For example, I did the first year of counselling at Birkbeck, and my tutor, we did, if anyone does anything with psychology at school, there is a hierarchy of needs by Maslow. Now, Maslow was a very prominent psychologist, written lots of books. And he died before, I think, just after I was born, 1970 or something. Irrelevant data, anyway. Now, he made this pyramid that they quote in all the school books. The top level is self-actualization. So, we are content. We did everything we want to do. But what's missing? We've got all the money, we've got all the cars, we've got all the houses. What's missing? We're not happy. What do the millionaires do? They've got 15 million yachts, or whatever they want. Are they happy? Or they want to kill people? So, why are they not happy? Because the last level is never in a school book. How did I find that out? And my tutor at Birkbeck didn't know about it. Because I was interested in what I did, what I read, and I went deeper. I didn't go through the school books. I educated myself about psychology because it was an interest to me. Now, if I was to go to school and find out about psychology that they are feeding me, I wouldn't know it. And I would think this is gospel. No, it's not. And that's why many of us are saying that education is not education, it's indoctrination. They feed us what they want us to know and not what there is out there. That goes for history and everything else. So, yes. There's the last thing that I thought about last week and I posted on the group about water. Right? I knew about it, but it just didn't occur to me. Like many things, you think, wow, I knew about it. How come I didn't think in depth? Well, messages hidden in water. This guy, Masaru Emoto, has experimented with water. So he played music, having vessels of water in between. Then he froze that water and photographed how the water froze. The particles of water with different types of music froze completely differently. He then put affirmation on the vessels of water, whatever glass or whatever it was, positive ones, and every single vessel under different words that were being put on it froze differently. The most beautiful frozen water was when there was love and gratitude printed on it. Now, the opposite was when it was negative. The water didn't freeze nice at all. It was horrible. Now, what are we? How much percentage of water have we got inside of us?
90%.
67.
About 60, 70.
Some of us are probably 20% wine at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 70% of water. So what happens if this water in a vessel has got nasty things written on it? It's going to be a nasty water. That he's proven it. There's books, you can see his website and everything else. I think he passed away there, but so we are 70% water. What happens to our bodies when we are exposed to nastiness? These horrible words. The husbands or the wives are telling you, you are a nasty piece of X, Y, and Z. And this, I'm not saying this has to be a horrible fighting thing. It could be nitpicking. Oh, you know, go and get washed, you look dirty. Or, you know, the smallest of things. Depends how sensitive the person is. But I found the more intelligent the people are, the easier it is to abuse them. And the other person, it seems sometimes in these relationships, the person that's abusing has grown up being abused, so they just carry on. And unless they understand emotional intelligence, they'll never change, because they don't think there's anything wrong. It's normal for them. What you've been brought up with, thinking it's normal, you carry on projecting onto other people. For example, with a person that shouldn't be named, I said to the husband that I'm going to buy a yacht because that's what I want to do. And this said person said, oh, you know that yacht uses a lot of diesel. So, it's got sails, you know. People project their own fears onto others. We need to be fully aware of it and say, stop. I don't want to know what you think, because your opinion, I'm going to be rude now, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And if we take others' opinions as our own, that's not ours. We need to know what we want out of everything that we want to achieve, not listen to other people's opinions. I remember my brother-in-law saying, don't become a driving instructor. I know someone that is a driving instructor and it's really a very bad job. Is it? I've been doing it 17 years. I love it. It's my passion. When you work your passion, you don't work ever again. It's not another days of your life that you're working, because this is something that you love doing. So how can someone else's opinion influence me? You're not me. I know what I like. Someone wants to ride that bike, go ahead. You don't get this bike because it's too big for you. No, I like it. I'm going to ride it. And this is the same with everything. Do not be pressurized to believe that this is what you want to do because they're telling you to do it. No. If you like it, good. If you don't, don't. Because it's never going to work for the person that doesn't want to do it. You have to be willing, and you have to like that, what you want to do. Not because someone else told you, especially parents telling children, you need to do this level of education or that level of education. Everyone is individual. And two parents produce completely different children. And my ex-husband had 7 brothers, they're chalk and cheese, all of them. So you can't tell them what they need to do and how they need to do it. You have to allow them to be themselves. Do you have any questions? Because I've been on and on and on and on.
You were talking about the water. The very same thing. I did some experiments because I work with tropical plants. It did exactly the same what you're saying with the plants. You can watch them right there. Whatever you say to them or think, to send that energy.
And they beautifully
amazing.
grow.
If you try it yourself, you can teach your children that. You can physically see what's happening to your plant and what you do to other people by your negative.
Exactly. But
emotions.
fear creates anger and fear, the negative emotions. If you have that in you, you're going to be sick. My ex-husband, when I divorced him, I told him, you change this quiet, this ease equals disease. I told him, change your attitude. You were very angry. I was going to Brazil, riding bikes similar to that, with 5 other women. I'm living my life, and he was going for chemo because he had the cancer. So You have to change that negativity. TFT is the greatest tool that has been invented for us to get rid of what's bothering us, to be able to go for whatever we want out of life. So, talking to your plants, talking to yourself, music. I've been listening to music for the last 4 weeks, non-stop. I listen to LP, Laura Pergolizzi. She's an American-Italian. She makes beautiful music, beautiful words, and I just constantly brainwash myself with it. I feel great. This is the thing. You have to get connected to source. I don't know. You know meditation. People do meditation. Meditation through music. I think this is what I'm doing. Meditation through music. I don't listen to anything outside someone that is trying to brainwash me. Switch the TV off. Well, most of us have switched the TV off. Yes. Subliminal advertising. This is another thing. You don't even know it's there. They are brainwashing you with subliminal advertising. We have to be aware of what's going to make us not right? And if many of us have years and layers of problems that need to be resolved, we need to tap on that problem and get rid of it step by step. Any more questions?
So when we're tapping, when we go home and we start doing the tapping,
Yep.
is it that we're thinking of do we always think of the problem
Yes.
when we do the tapping?
Yes.
So I'm saying that we want to change. Maybe,
Yep.
yeah?
Absolutely. Every single.
Even if it's change that is not in my individual power. For instance, what's going on now, that's...
But why have
that
you got...
change.
Think about this. Why have an emotional response to it?
Pardon?
Why have an emotional response to it that makes you feel negative?
Um,
There's nothing you can do about it apart from be positive and think, I'm not going to acquiesce to your crap.
no.
You can tell me whatever you want with cash. Forget, I've seen a guy at a petrol station, gone to the cash point, took the money out, and went to pay for his fuel.
Yeah.
I'm not using anything but cash, I only buy things online. We know what they're doing. You know, this thing, the reason why we printed that was because these people are lying to us, right?
Yeah.
So everyone is lying to us. They've been lying to us for years, controlling. I mean, First World War could have finished after first year, and why did it start? I mean, if you look into the history, it's mind-boggling, mind-boggling. So they'll kill little people for nothing, and they give them a Victoria Cross because they become heroes. They don't care. And that's what's happening at the moment. Except that this time, they want to enslave the society permanently.
So
with no
to
return.
Get rid of the anger I feel against those people, even though I have no power over them. But I suppose what
We are the
the
99%.
power for me not to be angry. That's what I've got to learn.
We are the 99% though.
Yes.
So what can they do? What can they do when you say, sorry, I'm not playing ball with you?
And I get angry with the people that have been brainwashed too, which is...
You can't.
No.
It's like on the road. You cannot teach anyone lessons because they're driving crap.
No.
You just have to let them be because
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Another thing with relationships, if you remove the problem that you had in a session like say today, and then you go back to the same relationship, what's going to happen? You're going to have the same brainwashing returning. You have to leave it. You have to get out of it. My ex-husband recently came to visit me with my son, and I'm a like observer now. I'm thinking, God, how could I have stayed in this relationship for 21 years? The conversation is so idiotic, but you don't know. I mean, you always argue that. Oh, you always argue. Am I arguing? Or I have a point of view that you have a different point of view to me. When I said something, you would get completely the wrong end of the stick. But I saw 10 different options thinking about whatever I said, but I couldn't. So I was definitely in the wrong relationship, but this is it. You don't know until someone tells you. That's why this guy has turned my life upside down. And I'll tell you what, you meet your soulmate for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And I met him for a reason. to change. I don't know what my purpose here is and why I'm doing what I'm doing now, but we have to fight this BlackRock, Vanguard. We have to fight them our way. So, and one thing, removing fear.
It's also important to see that everyone plays a role. So if it wasn't for the people that we fall asleep, all of this wouldn't have come to the surface.
Exactly.
A lot of us wouldn't know a lot of this stuff. They play a very important stuff. And from role, and from a spiritual perspective, they might have incremented to wake us up.
Exactly. Not only that, if it wasn't for this shit show, we wouldn't know each other.
Yeah.
Well, I've got so many friends. I've never had so many people that think along the same line I'm thinking. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
But we also wouldn't have gone like some of the things we're doing, going further towards challenging certain things. We would have never dreamed to do
Exactly.
because I've had enough, and it gives you power when you do that, whatever level you're at. Whether it's like I'm not going to pay, just cancel your TV license.
Yes.
For some people, that's empowers you,
Exactly.
and then you're less afraid because I have that.
I still need to know how not to pay the TV license. TV license, no, I'm not paying that. But council tax
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
and buy my legal fiction. I've asked Terry to tell me, but she's blocked me everywhere. So it's.
You have to educate yourself better than they are.
Yeah, but you see, you've got 14 many different things. I can build you a fence. And when it comes to thinking about how to try to get this thing of this legal fiction, my head doesn't go around it. I just can't figure it out. So we have our strengths and weaknesses, and we can't be good at everything. So we obviously can learn and start learning, the process of learning, but still, someone has arrived somewhere further, they can help us. So for example, Radek here came all the way from Barnsley to do the live streaming, because I know his gears and he's got lots of followers, and obviously we want to help as many people as possible. And the audience needs to be bigger in order to do that. So he came here on his own costs. I'm doing this at my own costs. John came along and provided us with a venue for nothing. It's amazing. It's how can it... I can't even believe that we are able to do things like that to help educate more people, to hopefully stop what's going on and become completely and utterly free in our heads, first of all, in our emotional states. Because that's what they've been doing. They've been trying to manipulate us with fear, and fear is the most powerful tool. And another person that is... It took me a long time to actually get along to read this book. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. It's about concentration camp, but it doesn't really tell you about... The people that survived concentration camps had a very positive outlooks. They knew they had something to live for. And again, it says something else to someone wants to go delve into psychology more. Great read. So, yes, go on.
Before you was talking about the triangle, the pyramid, and you said you won't learn it in the
Transcendence.
relationship, but you didn't say what the top one was.
Sorry. Transcendence. The top was transcendence. Great point.
Yeah.
Because that reminds, because I'm just doing it off the cuff. I've got some points written here, but I haven't written any bullet points. I actually have a presentation on this, but no projector, so it's not about that. So Maslow has added that transcendence part, like the spirituality, the connection to source, right? When you have connection to source, you do some amazing things. And you have to get there, because if you're in your head alone, in the pure and simple logic isn't going to work. You have to be connected to source through maybe music meditation, laughter meditation, lots of different types of meditation. But he came out with it towards his end of his life, and there's very important statements there, because all of these psychologists, Jung as well as Maslow, said that if they did it earlier, they would be discredited. So
They keep
Jung-
getting so much from us, aren't they?
Yeah. So Jung was the one that synchronicity is his thing, where some things are happening like in unison. I mean, when I was, it's a funny thing, I went to this super duper accountant, me and Juliana met on the 23rd of December, because I'm splitting up in the relationship, I need to sell this property, I don't want to pay any capital gains tax to these bastards that are ripping us off. So I went to the accountant and I said, well, how about if I buy a yacht? And he says, great idea, set up a new business. So I get out of a car park somewhere, I can't remember. And there was a coin, I thought, oh, 10p, I picked up the 10p. I looked at it, it's not 10p, it's some foreign coin with a fish on it. And this is the universe's way of telling you you're on the right path. Small little subtle things, like you take your phone, you open it, and it says 15 times. This is synchronicity. And you know that you're on the right path. For example, this was before when, after meeting Guy, that's 2008, maybe 9, I looked up my aerial in my car at the time, and I thought to myself, it's so easy to steal. The following morning, the aerial was gone. Don't think negative thoughts, because they're going to come and bite you on the arse. Anger. If I get angry, I get instant karma, so I don't try not to get angry. I'm telling you, I bought this bike, I had an instant karma when I got angry. I don't know how much money it's going to cost me, that instant karma, but yeah, don't get angry. Relax. Use TFT to get rid of anger. That's the thing. Any other questions?
I've got a question.
Go on.
You said that our problems have lots of layers. So where do you start?
Yeah.
The worst
Most
one.
important.
Start on the worst one. Start on the worst one and then carry on and see what happens. Gradually, bit by bit, you get to the core. I mean, I have the handouts I've given you have websites listed. These are the websites relating to driving. Doesn't matter whether it's driving a lot, fear, emotional anxiety, whatever, post-traumatic stress. There are our feelings. Nothing. Driving is part of, because that's what I'm doing. But the whole point is, if you were to look on the website, first on the drivingacademy.com, under the page with there's a button you push, and you have all about TFT, all of the things that I've done, like money raising for Haiti and whatever. At the very bottom of that page, and I've got business cards to give. At the bottom of that page, there is a video of me doing TFT. So you get the cloth or get the paper, and you start tapping with me on the screen. So you don't have to do it by yourself. You've got a video to go with it. Yeah? You don't need me ever again. Just introduction.
Oh, right, okay, so
They're on every page that you've got. The website addresses are there. There will be another website built from fear to love and freedom.com, but that's work in progress. I just bought the domain
on
name.
Facebook, Monika.
Yes, but I'm dire la verità. Tell the truth. But I'm not. Facebook, I've been putting a lot of positive things lately because I've got away from the truther stuff. Because it's overwhelming as well. We know what the whole objective is, right?
That's more thing like, don't watch the news.
Yeah.
Don't watch all that sort of
Even
stuff.
the truth of
You've got
things.
phone and that can just be very overwhelming as well.
We know exactly what the purpose of the whole thing is. We know what they're doing and why they're doing it. The ultimate level is enslavement of society, digital currency, universal basic income. You've got no rights. You step out of the line, they switch your money off and go and starve or whatever. I mean, that's what the objective is. They want to control everything that we do. Every single thing. Is that freedom?
No, and I've become addicted to certain things, and I know why. I'm just hoping that I'm going to see some good news.
We're going to make our good news.
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm addicted. Any slightly positive thing, I need to try and make myself feel better about it. So of course there's far more negative things when they're not positive things at the moment?
Well, you do the TFT on the negativity, how you will receive it. The other thing we need to do is endorphins exercise. I'm not saying go to the gym and pump up. Walk. Lots of walking in nature. Get out. Don't sit indoors. I mean, concrete jungles. But this is a nice little garden. There's squirrels here. It's like a little oasis. But doing even lifting digging the garden, doing something physical, so your body starts working, functioning. Because if we don't do that, it's no good. I realised that over the years I've been abused for a very long time, and I used to cycle to work, and then I used to go 3 times to the gym, and that's one of the ways I've survived, because I was physically fit and I was happy on the inside to an extent that stopped me from getting sick. The minute you stop doing that, then it's getting worse. So it's, you have to have motivation to get yourself doing the things. There was something else. What was it? Mentions. I can't remember what. I should have made a note. No. Any more questions? Because I can't remember.
So, Monika, is there like a time period? If you're trying to focus on one specific thing, and you tap, and you don't feel a change.
Individual thing, but if you get the right points. The only people that I wasn't successful with was a lawyer who had the fear of driving, but he was lawyer of serious accidents. He was on his building up in early 30s, just lived his job and did nothing but work. He had no time out. And I said to him that living like that, he's not going to live for very long, because he's constantly, lived in it. So no matter what I did, he returned to it. So it's like going in the mud, cleaning yourself up, and then going back in. And then what? And another person that had a problem, she drank too much. She was just constantly on wine. And obviously, she was functioning, but if you're so much toxicity in your body, you have to have a time out. Someone else also, autistic person, that she wasn't in touch with her emotional states. But again, it's 14 years of doing things. So all the other people, and what you can read. That's what I was going to say. What you can read on the websites is testimonials. So the First London Driving Academy is relating to learning to drive, but advanced driver coaching has got lots of case studies of people that have been helped through TFT. Yeah, so like my ex-girlfriend's nephew killed a cyclist. He was suicidal, so she flew to Poland to help him, and he's a paramedic now because of what happened. Yeah, I mean that's one of them, but there's been tons and tons of lots of. That's definitely. I'm going to have a book out of the case studies because there's just so much of it. Okay, so if anyone wants to have a private words with me or try TFT privately, I'll see you some other time when you have no dinner or lunch to run to.
It's been really good.
And if you want, because you got the printed papers, but there is a cloth, a microfiber cloth that I have printed. This is I have a trademark on this because it's printed on. This is exactly what you've got in your hands in paper, but it's printed on a microfiber cloth. Wipe away your fears because it's a microfiber cloth. I don't know why I put earth and a tear because it was 10 years ago when I did this. But it's got the same instructions printed basically on it. So the actual trademark is on the cloth, and the fact the instructions are printed on it. So I can put any website I want, and you can see that's going to be another website. So if you want that, fine for it, but it's entirely up to you, because you don't need it. You've got it. And in fact, if you want to take, this is my old print, take as many of these as you want to share with other people, to give away, because this is what, if we help as many people as possible, you teach them, you show them the video, I am earning nothing out of it. Bring more people in to understand how this works. Aspirin for emotional states.
And they won't conform.
Well, I think really we need to concentrate also on the mentally ill that are not getting help.
But you can't get to the mentally ill. You have to help the ones that are not mentally ill.
There's groups that are mentally ill.
But the thing is, if you can get to the mentally ill people, see, we are mentally ill. None of us are mentally ill here. Your husband is not going to see anyone to help him with his mental illness.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they're waiting months and months for their help.
But no one does, they won't come to ask you because they're so into the system, they will not want to see you. If they're willing to come and see you, great. If you can tell them, if you're working in a doctor's surgery, come, I'll show you what to do. Invite them.
No, I don't want you.
I know. But what I'm saying is, how do you get to the mentally ill?
Oh, no, I have my own rights and my own.
Yeah.
But you can include that with it.
Yeah.
Find out.
It's a way to...
But there's the issues, right? How you doing, guys?
They want to get them off, don't they?
Yeah? Good. Now you know how to do it. She knows what to find to do it. Do it. We will fighting for freedom is, our action. We can't allow people to walk over us. We have to stand up and say, no, that's your opinion, mine is mine, and keep yours to yourself. I'll give mine. And that...
We're not going on it.
Okay. Now I think that's it. Because we're going to have some social thing now, aren't we? We're going to be eating things. If anyone wants to have a look at the books, you're welcome to. The quotes, because I've highlighted lots of stuff in here. So, and if anyone wants extra stickers to take, John's put the water on, so we're going to have coffees. You're going to take pictures, eh? There, look. Good. Well, we can do it again now, you know? Yeah. Creative if you want to resolve it. Put yourself in that mental state and you resolve it, and then it's going to be, you can only know how to, if you can fix it by doing it. That's all right, that's good. It's tremendous. Her life has changed. Everything. Unbelievable. How it changed. Amy Matthews. She's done it at 5. She's the most confident, 17 years old. She's the most confident pupil I've had, and yet there was anxiety at some point, right?
Yeah.
School.
Yeah, one of my kids. Do you know what? Now when I think about it, it's more just, it is what it is. It's going to be able to, yeah, exactly. To progress.
Exactly. The same with driving test. People are like, they can't fight or flight response. Okay. And drive safely. And don't be afraid of anything. Good. Yeah, you can take pictures of it. You want to read it? Interesujące? Prawda? To niestety jest to, że jeśli nie zaczną czegoś takiego używać, przestaną się bać, to będziemy mieć zupełnie co innego. Wiesz, że są uważana jest okej? Nie ma jakichś lęków, czegoś takiego. No to jest zaryzowana. Nie.
Jak wiesz, przestałem cię spać, to spadł.
Naprawdę nie śpieszę. Weź sobie więcej. Rozdajesz ludziom. To są stare projekty. Maybe I'll divide it, my mechanic. If anyone wants my business card, there you go.